Hi everyone and welcome to Lunch with Liebert. Today is a special edition. It's at our usual time, Wednesday at noon, but we have so much information for you and so many questions coming in about the Cook County property tax appeal process that I thought it was very important that we did this today as our topic. What we need to know from you guys is what is going on out there in the property tax world. And you guys have been calling in and texting me and telling me. In Lakeview Township, which is the township that I live in and many of my clients live in, it's not just the Lakeview neighborhood in Cook County, it's Lakeview Township. And what that is a lot of the north side of Chicago, especially along the lakefront neighborhoods. We've been getting our property tax notices. They went out on May 7th, and wow, a lot of interesting assessments are coming in. My property, for example, some of you guys have been over to my little townhouse in Lakeview. It is not worth what they assessed it at. They are telling me it's worth $800,000. If you have been in my property, it's not worth anywhere near $800,000. I like it, but it's not. We don't know where they're getting some of these valuations from. It's not off any market values that I'm seeing. What we need to let people know is that there is an entire, pretty structured appeal process in place so that you guys can go out there and get your property taxes appealed. So I am going to have a little cheat sheet today. It's that detailed information. Some of this I'm also going to put online later. This is going to be rebroadcast on my YouTube channel and also in my LinkedIn blog because there is some detailed deadlines here. So let's go ahead and get started. Properties in Cook County, all properties are reassessed every 3 years. So right now this year, Lakeview Township, it's been up, it's reassessed, and those property tax notices are out. Your property taxes are based on those assessments. So if you do not appeal them, your property taxes are going to be based on those specific assessments. By appealing your assessment, you're actually going to potentially be able to significantly reduce your property tax bill. There are a lot of misinformation pieces out there. If you appeal your property taxes, you will never have them go up. So there's really no risk to do this, and in a lot of cases there's no cost. We're going to talk about that later. But there is, again, no potential for you to have a higher assessment if you go in and appeal your property taxes. So a lot of us that are getting these very high notices, these very high assessments, we've seen that before. This has happened before. This is actually not unusual. It will probably happen again in 3 years because what we feel like happens is that there's these high notices knowing that everyone's going to appeal, and the actual tax burden then lays higher on those that don't appeal their taxes. So some people are calling it a racket. I'm not going to go that far, but it seems like there's a little bit of a system in place where you get a high bill. A lot of people appeal that bill. The ones that don't end up footing more of the tax burden because they did not get their assessment lowered. Two places you're going to talk about. First of all, one place, the first place that you're going to go is you're going to go to the property tax assessor's office. The property tax assessor's office is going to be your first line of defense. You're going to go in there and you're going to file your appeal. Here's when you do it. Depending on when your township sent out the notices. So, for example, Lakeview Township sent out the notices May 7th. You have 30 days to appeal through the Cook County Assessor. So again, 30 days to appeal, which means June 7th, not that far away. June 7th is when you have to have that appeal in. So that's round one, is the Cook County Assessor. Round two, if you're unsuccessful at the assessor's office, if for some reason you missed that deadline, although we strongly advise you don't, you are going to want to appeal to the Board of Review. You're going to want to appeal secondly to the Board of Review. So if you don't like what happened at the Cook County Assessor's Office, if you missed that deadline, you also have a second round of defense, so to speak, at the Cook County Board of Review. So you're going to want to go online and you're going to want to go to cookcountyassessor.com. That's cookcountyassessor.com to figure out two things. Number one, what township you're in if you haven't gotten a notice yet. And number two, when the deadlines are for filing your first line of defense with the Cook County Assessor. So again, if you're in Lakeview Township, along the lakefront north side neighborhoods like a lot of my clients are, your deadline to appeal is June 7th. There is no cost for a property owner to appeal their taxes. So you go in, you walk in there to the Cook County board and the assessor's office. There is no cost to appeal. That's important to note. There are a lot of forms. They are kind of confusing. There's some information you're going to probably want to put together. I've already had some requests from you guys for some information as far as comparable sales, things like that. I am more than happy to get comparable sales for you, whether you want a CMA on your property, a market analysis to find out what's going on, or you just need some evidence that your property isn't worth what it is. But get those forms first. Figure out what you need before you talk to me about it. And here's what I would recommend. Because so many of you are saying, well, I'm too busy to get down there, I don't understand the website, there are some really great resources online. I have one particular link in that I like more than others, that it is one of the law firms that works on contingency basis. Almost all the property tax appeal firms do. So if you don't want to do this yourself, you don't have time to do this yourself, a lot of us, myself included, are filing through a property tax appeal attorney or law firm. I've worked with a couple of really good ones. I'm happy to give you recommendations. The one I'm favoring the most right now has a really nice dashboard that keeps you in track as they go through the appeal process from beginning to end. Step 1, Cook County, the assessor's office. Step 2, the property tax appeal board, the board of review. So it's important to stay in touch with the attorney. A lot of times they don't get back with you. So if you've got this nice portal like I found at this one particular firm, I'd recommend using them. And again, I can send you the link to that if you email me directly. So you can do this on your own. You can do this through a firm. The firms, almost all of them, I'd recommend finding a firm that does not charge you anything unless they get you a savings, unless they win an appeal. If they win an appeal, they'll take a percentage of the savings as their fee. So again, if you don't win, they don't win. They don't get a dime. I'm also recommending that you appeal your taxes yearly. We're seeing these wild fluctuations. They're going up so much. You could potentially continue to whittle away at that bill if you're successful one year and you see more evidence that you're still overvalued year after year. So we're recommending you do that appeal year after year. Again, with the one link I'm going to show you, it's almost automated at this point. 2 more notes that I want to talk to you about. First of all, timeline. It can take anywhere from 6 to 8 months for this to go through the appeal at the assessor's office and the board of review, which means you're probably not going to see those savings until the second bill you get next year. So it's a long process to get through and even longer to see the savings. However, it's obviously vital that you do this process to save money. I'll give you an example. I appealed my taxes 2012, 13, and 2014. I did win that appeal eventually after I went through the entire process. I get a check back for nearly $10,000 because mine has always been wildly overvalued. $10,000 for 3 years worth of taxes. It took so long it didn't even come on the bills. They just cut me a check. But it's definitely worth it to be filing these appeals. Another note, the last note actually I'm going to do for you guys right now, don't forget to file your homeowner's exemption and also your senior exemption. If you are using a property as your primary residence, that means you qualify for the homeowner's exemption. That can be a savings about $200 a year on average, I'm hearing, if you're filing the homeowner's exemption in Cook County. The senior exemption, if you qualify for that, then you are going to get a tax refund as well, or as tax savings, an exemption, and that credit's going to be, I'm hearing, on average $400. Could be more or less, depending on the property. So again, I've got a great portal I can recommend you to. Just message me, nick@nickliebert.com. You can also message me directly if you're seeing this on Facebook or any other social media we're going to post it on. But everyone, keep in touch with me. Keep in touch with your the assessor's website. Know your deadlines. For those of you in Lakeview Township, it's June 7th. I'm here to help. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time on Lunch with Liebert.